Major funding for NJTV News is provided in part by RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. NJM Insurance Group, serving the insurance needs of New Jersey residents and businesses for more than 100 years. And Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Tonight on NJTV News, advocates demand the government reunite families and end forcibly separating them.
Protesters stand outside the Elizabeth Detention Center where immigrant adults are jailed and demand that migrant children must be reunited with their families.
Plus, lawmakers approve a budget the governor said he would veto.
A dentist in Camden County is providing free dental care to uninsured and underinsured children.
And the doctors making house calls in Camden and soon other places as well. Those stories and more next on NJTV News.
Live from the Agnes Varus NJTV studio at 2 Gateway Center in Newark, this is NJTV News with Mary Alice Williams.
Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Michael Hill. Mary Alice Williams is off today. State lawmakers did it right after a tough talking Governor Murphy blasted them for sticking to what he called their old ways. They approved a budget. The governor said he would not sign it. The latest now, as chief political correspondent, Michael Aaron joins us here in the studio. Michael?
Michael, as we head into the weekend, the budget has hit a serious impasse. There are two budgets, actually, the governor's and the legislature's. The difference between them is in how they raise taxes. Murphy would hike the income tax on million-dollar earners and restore the sales tax back up to 7%. The legislature would increase the corporate business tax instead temporarily. Governor Murphy, Senate President Sweeney, and Assembly Speaker Coughlin met twice yesterday but could not resolve the difference. So last night, the leaders went ahead and voted on their version of the budget. The Senate approved it narrowly, 21-17. A few hours later, over in the Assembly, the same budget bill was approved 46-28. Two Republicans voted for the Democratic budget in the Senate, Kip Bateman and Kristen Corrado. 4 Democrats voted against their party leaders, Nia Gill, Ron Rice, Nick Sacco, and Jeff Van Drew, and Democrat Brian Stack abstained. Governor Murphy has promised to veto the legislature's budget. After last night's vote, we got some Senate reaction.
Our goals in this budget really mirror the governor's goals. And now we have to talk about the difference in opinion on how we raise those revenues.
And the governor has every right to veto the bill. I mean, you know, it's our hope. The 3 principals had 2 discussions today. They're going to continue to talk. We hope tomorrow through the weekend. Still got 9 days to go here to pass a budget. And I am confident, as much as all the press here wants to see it shut down, I'm confident that we're not going to get to a shutdown.
The majority party, the Democrat Party, just passed a budget that had a huge tax increase in it. In either budget, whether it be the governor's budget and the budget that was just passed, there are no real structural cost reforms, and quite frankly, that's what we need.
The vote last night followed Governor Murphy's angry 5 p.m. press conference yesterday. That's where he said he would not sign such a bill and accused the legislative leaders of shoddy work. A little before 9 o'clock last night, the 2 leaders emerged from their houses to support their budget and fire back at the governor for letting the talks break down.
I think the governor is in fact responsible in many ways for the breakdown. You know, he's taken a very dogmatic approach to resolving this. He's been disagreeable instead of disagreeing. And I think we had the opportunity to make a real progress today, and we failed.
This is my 9th budget. I have never seen an administration with a lack of focus and a lack of honesty the way they've handled this. We are funding the things he asked for. The only thing that isn't being fully funded is county colleges. And By the way, we're raising over $1 billion in taxes, which I really don't want to raise. But I would certainly rather tax corporations that got a windfall from Donald Trump than I would the people of this state.
So possible next steps are a veto by the governor, a conditional veto. He could sign the budget and line item veto certain parts of it, or he could resume talking to Sweeney and Coughlin. Michael?
Thank you, Michael. Much more to go. All right, thank you, Michael. You can watch Michael's interview with Senate President Steve Sweeney Saturday evening at 6:30 or Sunday morning at 10:30. Another rejection for a New Jersey utility company. Rhonda Schaff is here with the latest business news. Rhonda, this makes clear where the power is.
It does, Michael. A controversial proposal to build a high-voltage power line in Monmouth County has been rejected by state regulators. In a unanimous vote, the Board of Public Utilities turned down Jersey Central Power and Light's request at its meeting today. For several years, residents fought against the idea of a 10-mile power line that would have run from Aberdeen to Red Bank, built near the North Jersey coastline train tracks. Those residents formed a group called RAGE, or Residents Against Giant Electric. JCP&L had argued the new line was needed to improve reliability. The BPU's decision came after an administrative law judge had ruled previously that the utility had not proven the project was necessary. JCP&L says it's reviewing the BPU's decision before determining its next steps. Legal sports betting in the state is getting a few more takers. The Meadowlands Racetrack has announced it will start offering betting next month. On July 15th, sports betting will also be available at the new Ocean Resort Casino in Atlantic City, which opens next Thursday. Right now, the only two places sports betting is currently being offered in New Jersey is Monmouth Park Racetrack and the Borgata Casino. Congressman Frank Pallone says he wants to stop those annoying robocalls from telephone scammers. The congressman says robocall companies placed 18 billion unwanted calls in the U.S. last year, a 76% increase over the year before. So he's introduced the Stopping Bad Robocalls Act. Consumer advocates say the bill could be a powerful tool for consumers who are being scammed for millions of dollars every year.
Consumers lose as much as $350 million a year to illegal scams that are promoted through robocalls. And despite the do not call list and other steps that have been taken to curb this problem, the plague of these annoying invasive calls only continues to get worse. So consumers have had enough. It's time to take action. And so Consumers Union is very pleased to support the Stopping Bad Robocalls Act.
The bill widens the definition of robocalls, places restrictions on robocall companies, and would give the FCC authority to track those calls. A giant Jeffrey the Giraffe statue that stood in the Wayne-based headquarters of Toys R Us will soon have a new home in New Jersey. Jeffrey will be shipped to the Bristol-Myers Squibb Children's Hospital at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital in New Brunswick. The owner of the company advising Toys R Us during its bankruptcy process bought the 16-foot statue and donated it to the hospital. Jeffrey has a better outcome than the bankrupt chain. All of Toys R Us's retail stores will be closed for good a week from today. On Wall Street, stocks closed mixed. The Dow rose nearly 120 points, and the NJCU Index of New Jersey companies gained more than 3. And those are your top business stories.
Demands today to reunite forcibly separated children with their parents. The government claims it's happening, while at the same time preparing to house immigrant children at military bases. Senior correspondent Brenda Flanagan reports.
Keep families together. Holding up iconic images of immigrant children on the southern border, about 150 protesters stood outside the ICE detention center in Elizabeth and demanded the Trump administration reunite kids and families forcibly separated because of the president's zero-tolerance policy.
It must happen now, and all of us must speak up and stand up for what is right. Bring our children and their mothers and fathers back together, and let us show that we can lead as a nation that has compassion.
Behind them in the detention center, an estimated 300 unauthorized immigrants remain confined, some whose children were torn away at the border, according to attorney advocate Lauren Major.
The level of suffering and desperation these fathers have experienced and are still experiencing is almost impossible to witness, and this problem is not over. The thousands of children have not been returned to their parents.
That even though the president earlier this week signed an executive order mandating families should be kept together, but it's apparently created legal confusion and logistical chaos among officials trying to implement the order.
It doesn't end the zero tolerance policy. It doesn't stop criminalizing asylum seekers, nor does it address how to reunite the thousands of young children already separated from their parents.
The administration says 500 children have been returned to parents, but many advocates claim officials reportedly have no comprehensive database, no protocols in place to identify and reunite children with parents, some of whom have already been deported.
I refuse to believe that this government could be so cruel and so incompetent as to strip children away from their parents and not identify both.
And I want the Department of Homeland Security to work on this issue as quickly as possible, because I want children reunited with their parents as quickly as possible. And certainly Congress will monitor that situation closely. And I think this is the highest responsibility of the Secretary of Homeland Security.
We asked the Department of Homeland Security to comment. No answer. The president's executive order, meanwhile, also told the Department of Defense to prepare any existing facilities available for the housing and care of alien families. And Pentagon officials confirmed they're readying facilities for 20,000 unaccompanied minors at 4 southern military bases.
And if you have thousands of kids in a military base, there's going to be no lawyers there. These kids are going to be in court all alone, expected to fight their case against an ICE prosecuting attorney. It's a legal nightmare as well as a humanitarian nightmare.
A 1997 settlement says kids can't be held longer than 20 days before being moved to a licensed federal shelter. The Trump administration's challenging that in court. The ACLU suing the administration over the zero tolerance policy, and neither House nor Senate has passed a solution, prompting the president to tweet today, Republicans should stop wasting their time on immigration until after we elect more senators and congressmen and women in November. Dems are just playing games. Congress continues to struggle on how to deal with the immigration issue, but ultimately how these children are treated could be decided by the courts. In Elizabeth, I'm Brenda Flanagan, NJTV News.
The president has told the House to forget about voting on immigration bills till after the fall elections, blaming Democrats for being uncooperative and blocking progress. But Republicans themselves are struggling to find common ground on the issue. Senior correspondent David Cruz spoke with Republican Congressman Leonard Lance.
Congressman, thanks for taking a few minutes with us. Yesterday, your Republican colleagues had an opportunity to pass 2 bills. One of them went down and the other was postponed. Tell me a little bit about what's in this second bill that is still in play and what you support and what you don't support in it.
David, I did not support the bill yesterday that was defeated on the floor of the House. 41 Republicans voted against it, and I was one of the Republicans to vote against it. It did not provide a pathway to citizenship for the so-called Dreamers, and I believe there should be a path for that group. These are residents of our country who came here as infants or toddlers or as children with their parents, and I think that they should be given the opportunity to gain citizenship. And then there is a compromise bill that is still being written. It has further amendments, and I hope that we're able to vote on that bill next week, and that bill does have a pathway to citizenship for Dreamers.
So what else is in there? What does it commit the United States to paying for the construction of this border wall, and what else is in there in terms of policy either encouraging or restricting immigration?
It does contain funding for greater border security. I'm not sure that there would be a wall at every place at the border, but greater border security. It's roughly $5 billion a year or so over the next 5 years. And the point of discussion at the moment is regarding agricultural visas, which of course are very important for members of Congress in largely agricultural districts. My district in suburban New Jersey has some agriculture, but this is of particular importance to people in the agricultural Middle West and the Central Valley in California, for example, and that is in discussion now, and we have not seen the final text on that aspect of the compromise bill.
The issue of immigration, I mean, it's very emotional, obviously. But it really is an economic issue, is it not? I mean, aside from all the other things that it affects, it really is an economic issue. You touched a little bit about some of the folks in your district, but in other areas around the country where immigrants are a huge part of the workforce.
That's absolutely correct, David, and we welcome legal immigration in this country. It's the lifeblood of this country moving forward. I am an opponent of separating children from their parents, and I think it was appropriate for the president to reverse himself on that issue, and I am becoming the co-sponsor of a bill sponsored by a Democratic colleague of mine from the Philadelphia area, Congressman Boyle, to make sure that children are returned to their parents as quickly as possible.
Congressman, you touched on the separation of children from their families. These scenes of crying children almost literally being ripped away from their parents, just not a good look for this country.
I agree with that as well, David, and I think that children should be with their parents. I think that that is essential in our society, and this has been a challenge over several years. Secretary Johnson of Homeland Security in the Obama administration discussed it this week, that certainly I don't think any administration should try to separate children from their parents, and I am very strong on that issue, as I believe is true of a majority in the Congress of the United States.
You mentioned the president. What has his role been in all of this? And by that I mean, has it been constructive or not constructive? Just in terms of what signals he's sent to Republicans on the immigration bills, and also the role that he played in reversing the policy on separation of families.
I was relieved that he reversed the policy on separation of children from their parents. I don't think that should have been put in place at all. I attended the conference where the president spoke with Republicans here in the House of Representatives, and he indicated he would sign into law the compromise bill. He has tweeted more recently that he thinks this should await the general election in November, and I disagree with that. I think we should continue to work on this issue, and I hope to vote on a compromise bill next week, and I would encourage Democratic colleagues to come to the table with their ideas, and I extend a hand of friendship to Democrats in the House. And I was very pleased to see that Senator Feinstein and Senator Cruz are working together on this issue in the Senate. And as I understand it, their bill would say that we need to have many more immigration judges. That's part of the challenges. There are about 350 immigration judges in this country, and we need to double that number, and we need to do it as quickly as possible.
All right, Congressman Leonard Lance, thanks very much for taking the time, Congressman.
Thank you very much, David.
With his pen, Governor Phil Murphy has outlawed underage marriage and civil unions in New Jersey. He raised the minimum age to 18. Before this, minors 16 and 17 years old could marry with their parents' consent. The state health department says 3,600 did so between 1995 and 2015. Now, research shows those early unions are not good for young women psychologically and in other ways. The governor calls this a child protection issue. New Jersey now becomes the second state to ban all child marriages. It's not a ban, but it would put a fee on single-use plastic and paper bags if the governor signs the bill. Customers would pay a 5-cent fee for each bag they carry from the store. It would exempt some customers on public assistance. Democrats say it's about protecting the environment by keeping plastic out of landfills and away from marine life. They say the bill could generate more than $23 million a year Some of it would go to the Healthy Schools and Community-Led Abatement Fund, but some critics call it a sham and a money grab for the state budget. A desperate plea for help that tops tonight's Garden State Express. Our first stop, Mays Landing. 65-year-old Adela Gigliotti needs a kidney transplant. Because the wait for a donor organ can be longer than someone has to live, Gigliotti is using a billboard to help. Her ad, "I need a kidney, will you help?" The response in a month, 6 potential donors said they would be willing to apply for a transplant. South Jersey drivers can expect to see more of these billboards while Gigliotti awaits the results of more testing. After that, she can interview potential donors. Statistics show 20 people die every day waiting for donor organs. Next to Camden, making house calls. Virtua has launched its new pediatric mobile services unit. It's to give a wide range of care to children from babies to 5-year-olds. That includes dental, developmental, and lead screenings, oral health care, and flu shots. If necessary, children will be referred to specialists. Virtua calls the service transformational and says it's grateful for the $1 million private donation for the mobile services unit. It's a pilot program now for Camden with plans to serve other medically underserved and impoverished urban communities in Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester counties. Finally, to Atlantic City. Time for that city-long arts exhibit known as 48 Blocks Atlantic City. Artists have been hard at work creating colorful and attention-grabbing paintings on walls for the week-long festival. One teacher's students will produce some 3D chalk art that's on California Avenue. Another mural looks like a Monopoly board. The festival will include musical performances, yoga, Tai Chi, and photography. It'll feature more than 100 art projects, hoping to inspire locals and visitors alike. The Atlantic City Arts Foundation says at the ground floor of any resurgence of any major city is art. And that's our Garden State Express for this Friday, June 22nd, 2018. Something up in your neighborhood? Tip us off. You don't usually think of kids smiling and having a good time when they visit the dentist, but what about when the dentist goes to them? Lauren Wanko shows us how one nonprofit creates healthy habits and lots of smiles.
4-year-old Cynthia shows off her pearly whites.
Let's count. 1.
The Camden resident is getting a free dental screening. The office is in a school, Kip Cooper Norcross Academy.
I brush my teeth good, and I eat vegetables so I can get healthy. Then after that, I brush my teeth some more. Then I brush my teeth once a day and once a night.
The gateway to a healthy community is through a healthy smile, and so that's why we're here.
Dr. Melba Benelli Henderson, who also owns a private practice in Marlton, examines and counts the children's teeth.
Oh, beautiful. 1, 2.
She and husband David Henderson launched the nonprofit Gracious Smiles in 2014.
We do an exam and a cleaning for the children, and we also make sure that all the teeth that are permanent teeth that need to be sealed, we take care of sealants for the kids as well to try and prevent the disease process.
Dr. Mel also fills cavities in the school, too.
You don't have any cavities. Isn't that great?
On this day, students are visiting from the nearby Center for Family Services Head Start program. The dental services are free to uninsured children. For those with coverage, the nonprofit bills the insurance. But if any of the dental services aren't covered by the company, Gracious Smiles doesn't bill the parents. They pick up those costs with the help of fundraising and grants.
Everything is given to each child equally. There's no changing what type of care based upon what they can afford. And we love it. It's just the way to give just quality care to the community.
Dr. Mel's team visits the school once a week. With parental consent, the kids get a cleaning and exam every 6 months, says the dentist, so long as they don't need other care like fillings. The nonprofit focuses its efforts in the city of Camden and around Burlington County. They're in the process of raising funds to transform their van into a mobile dental clinic to broaden their reach. Lucas's mom is grateful her son's getting the free screening during the school day.
Wow, Lucas, you've got a lot of teeth.
That's a great thing because it takes, save time for me from take from work, from, spending a whole day in a clinic or doctor's office.
Dr. Mel, a U.S. Air Force veteran, says many people don't realize the importance of healthy baby teeth.
If the baby teeth are lost early, it's very difficult for the permanent teeth to know where they're supposed to erupt. So therefore, you have orthodontic problems because of it. The cost of orthodontics can run anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000.
Gracious Smiles established their in-school dental office last year. Before that, though, they started educating students in the classroom about the importance of brushing their teeth, flossing, tooth sealants, and nutritional food choices. It's something the dentist plans to continue throughout the upcoming school year.
Because no matter what we do clinically, if we don't educate the child and educate the families, then it's to no avail.
Cynthia says she really enjoyed her visit with the dentist. The best part?
To get my toothbrush and take it home with me.
You like the free giveaways, huh?
Yes.
Cynthia got her new toothbrush, giving her another reason to smile. In Camden, I'm Lauren Wonko, NJTV News.
And now some noteworthy facts that help you know Jersey. More than 500,000 U.S. citizens in New Jersey live with at least one family member who is unauthorized, according to a report by the Center for American Progress. New Jersey is the second state in the nation to ban marriage for anyone underage. The Meadowlands Racetrack will start offering sports betting on July 15th, and Jeffrey the Giraffe has been the mascot for New Jersey-based Toys R Us since 1969. If there's someone who you'd like to get to know Jersey, share. Use hashtag KnowJersey. Monday on NJTV News, how New Jersey will resolve the budget impasse to avert a government shutdown. To share any story you've seen tonight, go to njtvnews.org. I'm Michael Hill. For all of us here, thank you for watching.
The members of the New Jersey Education Association, making public schools great for every child. And PSE&G, we make things work for communities.